All right, folks, here we are. It is the return of Radio Reflex, Season 3, Episode 1. I think we're going to break it into seasons like this so people can, get an idea of where we're coming from. Anyway, I am, of course, one half of Radio Reflex, Ian, right time, Kinderine, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Alan. How are you doing?
I am feeling underprepared. I'm feeling rusty. To use a phrase that we love, I've got ring rust. I feel like this is almost like the first podcast all over again, figuring out. Well, I mean,
Well,
I'm sure it'll kick in a minute, and we'll get through it. But it does because audience, if you're watching, we obviously did some kind of like FAQ episodes in the lead up to nationals,
yeah.
but those kind of felt like public service announcements rather than fully fledged podcasts. So, I mean, you've been podcasting a lot longer than I have. Ian. So maybe this is just like second nature to you. But yeah, I
Well,
feel
I,
I
I
feel
mean, I
good
did.
to get back into it.
I did have a nice little warm up of 8 hours worth of shark casting on the weekend, so I feel
Oh,
like
true.
I haven't completely been away. But anyway, welcome back, and I know there's a few people who've been looking forward to us returns. Shout out to Nick Butcher, who is he's the Dave Meltzer to our Young Bucks. Really, we are his favorite podcast.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll get that reference. Maybe he will.
Well,
Maybe
well,
he won't.
I'm sure he has the internet. He can look it up.
Does that mean we
Alrighty.
should do killing the business, killing the damn business t-shirt for us as well?
Maybe. So, well, let's get back into it. How we used to do it. Starting off with good housekeeping. What have you got for good housekeeping? Season 3, Episode 1, Alan. What's on the agenda?
Okay, well, the first thing is before we left off last season 2, we of course had some big plans to make us turn us into a franchise, and I finally got some of those underway. So we've been a little bit slow. In fact, that's one of the reasons I wanted to kind of push back the starting of a podcast. I have a technical advisor. Unfortunately, however, he's kind of found a partner at the moment. So some of my requests for help have gone on deaf ears, but I don't slight him. I don't slight him that. I wish him the best. It's pretty cool. But anyway, the point of it is we wanted to get a website going for Radio Reflex. So we are now the proud owners of RadioReflex.net. And if you want to email us, you should be able to hopefully. Assuming the email is going through properly, you can email us at info@radioreflex.net. But it's one of the things I really want to do as a little project to build a website. Obviously, it's going to be pretty simple, but me and Ian are all about the community, so I wanted to have this as kind of a hub. So once I get a little bit more of this design stuff under my belt, I'm hoping it's not too complicated to start off with. We really want to reach out to all the other podcasters and just content creators, and just have Radio Reflex as a place where you can go to find content producers easily, and hopefully we can help. We can help getting people out there. I mean, there's so much content coming through at the moment.
Absolutely.
It's really great to gather it all in one place.
Yeah, and that was always our goal with Radio Reflex. It was not necessarily to be the be all and end all of fab content. We really wanted to. We jumped on to sort of inspire other people to get on and make content, and it's been great to see the likes of Session Blood and Outcast Haven and stuff like that. They're really people who are just enjoying the game and have decided they want to put stuff out into the world, and that is what we want to foster and bring to the world, and really hope to put together some stuff for the community, for the current community, but also new players coming in, so they can have a hub of a place to go. When when you get excited about a new thing and you just want to know all about it, that's kind of what we want to be that's what we want the website to be, is like a place that you can steer new players if they're excited about the game and they want to know more about it. They can dive in the deep end.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, ultimately, maybe, Ian, we really want our sacrifice to be that there are much better content producers that come after us. So maybe in 10 years' time we'll be looked at, the kind old doddery blitz players while everyone is just way more up to date. I mean, look at this. I'm wearing a white shirt on a white background. That's a rookie mistake already.
That's a nice floating head there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what else have we got on good housekeeping?
Okay, so probably the first thing to mention is, Ian, we are kicking off season 3, and that's not just a podcast. That's actually our rivalry. And Ian, of course, as he constantly reminds me, is 2 up. He is 2 up. He is 2-0 in seasons at the moment. But as we kind of discussed, we are very much looking at Blitz to be our format. So we will both be, unless God prevents us, God or the devil prevents us, we will be at Card Merchant Takapuna tomorrow night. They are having their Thursday night Blitz Armory. We had like 17 players, I think, last week, duking it out for like 4 rounds of Blitz. I went 2-2, which is a pretty good record. Have you made it out to Card Merchant Takapuna yet?
2 weeks ago I was out there. I did, and this week I did make it out to Vagabonds last night as well, where we had 16 people for Blitz, which was great to see. A lot of travels, a lot of fresh faces. North Shore is really a buzz with Blitz fever at the moment, having 2 great stores, and what's been really nice is to see how Matt and Amal have worked together to find a compromise and make sure that they can not compete on the same night and splitting the community. So having Tuesdays and Thursdays out on the shore is pretty cool, and definitely it is being rewarded with good turnout on both nights so far. Last night I went 2-2. And which was a bit of a shame. I was running actually a version of Chris's Ira deck. I say a version is because I just don't own all the cards that were in it. So I will blame the fact that I didn't have all the cards on my 2 losses. To be fair, both of which one was against Tom, who was undefeated with Reiner, so I'm not disappointed to take a loss to Reiner, and he did really well with that, and he's very pro brute now. He's all like, oh, this deck's amazing. And I was like, yeah, it's amazing until it's not. I was like, it's a fickle mistress.
I don't know. It's more amazing in the right hands.
Yeah, well, the dice still take part, but Tom did a great job going undefeated with Rhino last night. So that's cool. That's been very nice. So technically, I am also 2-2 at my Blitz events since season 3 has begun, even though we haven't been in the same place. So technically, I guess that's just the same as being 0-0.
I think basically officially we'll kick it off tomorrow night, and that's where it all goes down. Because I don't know about Vagabond Sakapuna if they're running 3 or 4 rounds, but we ran 4 rounds, and with Blitz it was really good. And it was good. It was interesting to see. Like last week, we had Kale playing Wizard. There's quite a few Wizard players.
He was playing Wizard last night as well, and he was bemoaning the fact that it took so much brain capacity.
Yeah, actually, our little shout out to Stallone. Stallone is a new player that I met last week at Card Merchant, and immediately first deck built is he went straight into Kano, into Wizard. So I have to give him a shout out for being hella brave trying to do that. But I think he had a reasonable. I think he went 2-2 as well for the day. So yeah. So Blitz is rearing along, and Yeah. Oh, Kale.
I'll
Yeah.
say his
And not
head's still sore.
well, for what reason? For what reason, Kale? You know.
From playing Wizard, but I don't know. I don't know if it's lingering effects from that crazy brew a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, possibly. Oh no, that crazy brew is pure nectar. Braden wouldn't give us anything that would make us head sore the next day. That was
Well,
delicious.
you still have to roll the dice, though, right?
Yeah, true. Well, we'll get that. Well, we'll actually get to that. I suppose the next part of our the podcast today is actually getting into the meat of it because we've actually, I mean, in a way, there's a lot of news we've kind of missed out on that we would have been talking about in the last few weeks. But I mean, we've had two pretty major events, and the first really starts off with nationals. New Zealand Nationals happened. It was a hell of a weekend. Oh, have I lost Ian? I think I've lost Ian. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I lost you for a sec.
Yeah, I don't know why I got booted from the stream there.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm hosting it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So nationals. It was I don't know. In a way, I feel like I'm still recovering because I haven't had a chance to actually recover from. I don't know. It's just been since the week of nationals. Fortunately, I got a chance to fly down nice and early, so I actually flew in on Wednesday night. So it gave me a chance to catch up people with Thursday. I mean, we ran our FAQ podcast just before nationals on the Thursday. I was actually at Cerberus Games. But yeah, got to stay out in Eastport with my in-laws and then moved into town for the actual event with some nice accommodation with my studio buddies, with Jason and Chris. They did bemoan the fact that we were three single beds in a room, but I was looking for the best, cheapest accommodation. I never, want to spend company money without good reason. But now apparently I'm officially banned from booking accommodation, according to James.
Yeah.
But I got a chance to bond with my workmates. So, I mean, how was you? I mean, I flew down. You had a long trip. Where did your nationals trip start from?
Yeah, so I 5 a.m. Friday morning. I got up to do a full day's work on the coffee van, and at my last stop, I picked up Chris Bewley, and we sort of jumped straight on the road and drove the 9 hours that it took us to get down there in the little van, and went straight into the Battle Hardened event. So it was a long day, and it was a longer day on the way back. But yeah, no, it was good, and I enjoyed taking the coffee van down and making coffees for those who chose to buy some. So I hope everyone enjoyed them, and yeah, that was good.
Well, every morning, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning, there was the posse outside waiting for us. We were very strict on the doors opening, just basically because we had a lot to get done. But I mean, Friday night Battle Hunt went really well. One of the big things, obviously, is we were running it under level 1 in Wellington, while Auckland was still kind of was Auckland level 2 or level 2?
Well, technically, we'd just come out of level 2.5. We were at level 2, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, one of the things is we had hand sanitizer, masks everywhere. We kept, even though the restriction wasn't in place for Wellington, we kept under the 100 people. But yeah, the Bridge Club was a pretty good venue. I'm hoping maybe one day we'll make it back to the Bridge Club, or hopefully we'll even have a bigger venue next time we're down in.
Well, hopefully we'll need a bigger venue. That'll be that's the key.
Yeah, definitely. So it was a really good rate. I mean, we had something like 82 players with like 103 players, I think, invited in total. So yeah, like a 80% turnout, which was really great. And I don't know, it's all a little bit of a fuzz to me at the moment because we were kind of running on empty at the end of every day. But I mean, we kicked off day one with a big full house. There was a cut, basically 5 and 2 or top 16 made it, which was the largest number. Matt Rogers once again ran the tables and 7-0'd day one.
Yeah, and talking about number one fan Nick Butcher, he's just launched great interview with Matt, where they break down Matt's deck and everything that he did sort of leading into nationals and the breakdown of the deck and the sideboarding for different things. So again, that is definitely worth a watch if you want to know about top level play from pretty much the best in the game at the moment in Matt Rogers.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get Matt on again sometime. Maybe we should be rather than the deep dive into strategy, we'll get Matt on and get his feelings, his emotions, because
ask him what he had for breakfast the morning of. So all the hard hitting questions.
Well, what is a breakfast of champions? On a side note, I know me, Chris, and Jason ate very well because they complained about the room, but I did make sure that we had breakfast booked at the hotel. So we had a mighty fine breakfast every morning, which I think was the real dessert. But yeah, and of course we had Calico Keep at Nationals. They ran side events. I know Gary Lynch. I'll name drop Gary. Gary took home a whole box of Welcome to Wraith Alpha print, I believe. Oh, where's Brett? Brett knows something about If Brett liked the interview, then that's a seal of approval right there. Yes, Weet-Bix is a breakfast. But do you know what also is a breakfast of champion? Scrambled eggs, bacon, sandwiched in a bagel. That is also a breakfast of champions.
This of course from Kale. Did you know that in Australia and in New Zealand, the Weet-Bix theme song's exactly the same, but they change. In Australia, it's Aussie kids are Weet-Bix kids, and in New Zealand, it's Kiwi kids are Weet-Bix kids. Like they didn't know, like literally same tune, same everything. They just changed one word. Man,
that is crazy because I did like Australians, but now I know that they did that to our song. That's it.
War. Well, who knows? I don't know if it's our song or their song. But also,
I don't know you anymore, Ian. God,
but
stop it.
Also,
Ian.
The Aussie burger and the Kiwi burger at McDonald's are exactly the same burger. It's like the rest of the world think we're one fucking place.
That's a real shame. That's a real shame.
I was about to say, any non-Kiwi and Aussie watchers are going to be like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about.
Yeah, that's fine.
What is
that's
a
Weet-Bix? Well, when we get to the Blitzathon part of the section, we can talk about us waxing lyrical about party food. But so that was day one. A few side events. It ran really smoothly.
Yeah, day one, I went in, of course, with Brute. That was always going to be what I ended up doing because I really didn't actually, knowing that I was driving the van down and stuff like that, I hadn't actually got a lot of practice time in to make a serious run at the event. So part of me was part of me was like, I'm just going to play what I always play. So first round, traveled 9 hours to play Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson. I'm like, oh man, I do this every week at Hobby League, and he rolled me. He rolled me with his aggressive ninja, and shout out to Nick. He heartbreakingly was someone had to be it, but he was heartbreakingly number 9 on the weekend. It bubbled out and would have been the only ninja in the top cut, but it wasn't to be. I then went on, and to the second round, I took on a man that we both know quite well, Nick Tung, from former owner of Hobby Master and general stalwart of all card games and hobby related stuff here in Auckland. He was playing Viserai, and in classic style, I was just chatting away with him, and here's a trick for young players. I was using the hard cased equipment, the hard case top loaders for my equipment, and my tunic and my null rune robe, which is what my one piece of arcane, my arcane 1 barrier is, are in the same top loader, and I just flip them over depending on the matchup. Unfortunately, I was chatting away to Nick as we were setting up, and I didn't notice that I accidentally put it down on the Tutic side, and so I had no Arcane Barrier 1 in that matchup, and while it was a very close game, in the end I succumbed to just the scratch damage that happened from the Arcane Rising, so that's not going to be the only time that I was unprepared at Nationals, and we'll talk about that but later when we come to the PTI event. But yeah, and then in the third round, I played against Braden, and he was one of the two players playing Ranger along with
Janelle.
Janelle was the other one.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. And I did manage to get the win there, but at that stage I was 2-0 going into that, so I actually gave Braden the win there and dropped to play in the second chance event, which again was a great event, and I made top 4 in the second chance event, so that was a lot of fun. Yeah, and like in the last chance event, it was me as Brute and 3 warriors, so it was like 4, and so I'd gone undefeated till the second to last round, and then played 2 warriors and just couldn't get past the warriors, and yeah. So well done to everyone who played in that event. That was a lot of fun as well, and that was the really nice thing, was that, like, yes, the main event was very serious and a lot of high level play, but for us less competitive, I would say, players, we also had a good time in the side events as well. So again, shout out to Calico Keep and also to your team of judges, Alan, for running those events so well.
Yeah, well, we had a pretty, to be honest, it was a small crew. Jason Chung was head judge. I was kind of like, well, I was tournament organizer and also did the data. We had, obviously, James was a judge, Chris Gearing was a judge, and we had the Aaron and Jesse from Like Butter Media. They were doing the text and Instagram coverage for us. And before anybody asks, yes, we would definitely like to stream more. And obviously, if you saw the Blitzathon in the weekend, that was us putting all our effort into streaming. So, future events, we definitely want to get streaming underway.
Yeah.
Just doing it at the Bridge Club was just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, what a lot of people probably don't realize is how small the team at LSS and at the weekend actually was, and they're actually you guys everyone was pulling double, triple duty and stuff like that. And also, to be fair, I don't know how good the internet at the Bridge Club was. And there's nothing worse than offering a service like streaming and then it not happening. Like I know a lot of people were like, oh, just do it on your phone and stuff like that. But I think LSS were very much wanting to make sure when they do it, they want to make it good and look right and stuff like that. And so they didn't want to half-ass it, or be in a situation where you get halfway through the day one and the internet cuts out and then you don't get anything. And then I think people would be more disappointed if they were told there was going to be streaming and it didn't happen, as opposed to they're just not being streaming because it wasn't a viable thing. And again, COVID, man, like 2020, this is a very, very different situation than it will be in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, and we had a great team, and Aaron and Jesse, their photo and text coverage was fantastic. So we wanted, whatever coverage we did, it had to be really good, and they certainly delivered on the coverage, but we weren't going to have any, we weren't going to be able to deliver on the streaming. So, but that capped off day one, and then we went into day two. So day two was obviously
18 players made. Yeah, 18 players made the cut to day two. So 18 5 and 2s, which was great. In that 18, a lot of diversity in that 18. Unfortunately, no wizards made it. Correct.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, because one of the other things is because it was top 18, there was payout to top 16. So that was pretty rough because, 2 players in the end didn't end up moneying but making day 2. So it's pretty rough on them. I know both of those people. I'm not going to mention their names because I don't want to add any salt into the wound, but I mean, it did give something people to pay for, because if you took those losses on day 2, making money on day 2 wasn't guaranteed at all.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And as we were saying, Wizard, I believe Wizard were, there were 3 players that were on the bubble to make it, and they all had to win in their last round, and they all lost.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy. But it's not only like a double-barreled event, because while the day 2 players kicked off, I think, at 9 a.m. nice and early, at 10:30 we had the very first PTI qualifier, and now with our focus on that was very interesting. So
All right, I don't know if Alan has frozen for you guys or if it's just my stream. All right, hang on a sec, guys. I don't know what is happening here on whether or not Alan is frozen or if that's just on my end. Give us one moment. Technical difficulties. Again, see, this is what we didn't want to happen. All right. All right. It looks like we have lost Alan. Hopefully, he will jump back in. Yeah. Skynet. Yeah, exactly. Yes. All right. Okay. So we have lost Alan. So hopefully we will get him back. Here we go. It looks like let's just add him to the stream here. All right. Are you there?
I am back. That was very weird. Apologies if you're listening to this on the podcast version. Sorry, just something blanked out. We lost Ian. Where were we? Okay, we were pretty much discussing, the PTI qualifier. So we had over 32 players, because that was you needed 32 players over there to put one of those precious black envelopes with a random cold foil in the drop, random gold foil drop into the situation. So it was really great. Probably my 2 biggest disappointments from a PTI qualifier is two heroes were completely missed out on. Now, one of them I understand, Shiana. Nobody played Shiana at the qualifier, because I probably think it would have been risky to play Shiana, and no one's really, she's a risky to play.
Well, it's not even so much that. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I just don't know how many people had Shiana at the time. That like the only people I knew that had Shiana. I mean, I don't know everyone who had it, but like of the people I knew who owned Shiana, most of them were in day 2. They were in day 2 of nationals. So so it may have just been a case of the people that were there to play PTI just didn't own her, because I mean I still don't own her.
Yeah. Hey, I know a certain nationals player, owner of Adept Events, Marnie, actually pulled a Shiana from his prize pack from the Battle Harden on the Friday night, which is pretty cool. But
I was actually staying with Marnie, and our team, our house was very lucky from our pools.
Yeah.
From Battle Harden, I got 2 packs from Battle Harden and pulled a tunic. So nice. Not gonna complain about that.
Yeah, but the second hero that got was unrewarded, and I think this is very strange, but hopefully after the Blitzathon we'll get to, people won't be sleeping on her, is of course Ira. Nobody played Ira in the whole field.
That surprises me, to be honest. Like that, we've been fans of Ira, and we saw from our just from our Pauper event how strong Ira is. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if it's just people. I do know there's a lot of people in that PTI who hadn't practiced for like who were planning to play day two of nationals and not the PTI. So
yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of
so
people just trying out Blitz for the first time.
Yeah. Well, there were quite a few decks in that PTI that were stripped down versions of their main decks, and that did go to show in the gameplay of what did well and what didn't do so well. So
yeah. Well, in the end, I think we had 6 rounds, and we finally got to a top 8, and the top 8 was pretty interesting. Actually, I'm just sorry, I had it up and then I closed it down. So the top 8 was made up of a number of. There was a good distribution of classes. So we had Sam Payne on Guardian, we had Kashan Rowe on Guardian, we had Andrew Peak on Warrior, which was Kasai rather than Dorinthia. Daniel Richards was on Rhina. Rommel Estalia from Wellington, he was on Warrior, but Kasai. Brett Rogers as well, he was on Kasai. Obviously, he's a big Dorinthia man, but played Kasai.
Brett Rogers there saying battle hardened counts as practice, right?
Yeah.
Well, for a lot of people, it did. A lot of people it did.
Yeah, and then Ash Singh, our buddy Ash from Auckland. Ash played Warrior, but played Dorinthia. And then the final inclusion to the top 8 was Nicholas Holding, whose name should be well known now, with Kano. And in the end, the finals was Ash on Dorinthia versus Nick on Kano, and Nicholas Holding won out. And now I think the nickname for him is he is now the first Drakai of the Ether, the first Wizard player to take down a big event.
He in fact got a sweet cold foil with that inscription in ancient runes on it. So he indeed is the first Drakai of Ether. So
I'll tell you. Yeah, and he took home a gold cold foil Arcanite Skullcap, was in the black envelope. But I'll tell you a little story. That wizard cold foil has in fact was actually signed by James, but also like the inscription was done by MJ at the studio. But I had that on me for several months. James actually gave it to me at the beginning of the Road to National season. Because James knew that I was going to either judge or I would be attending so many of the events. So he said, "Alan, only give this away if Wizard takes down a big event. Hold on to it. Don't show. I said, don't show anyone." I was like, "No, I won't show anyone. I was only going to pull it out." So basically, it sat in a deck box for a couple of months, basically waiting for Wizard to blow the field out. And finally, I
just want to take this moment to all those players who played the lesser classes, the slightly underplayed classes, the classes that don't get a lot of love. LSS is watching out, and they have done this in the past. Like we did break the news that there was the possibility of winning a cold foil Ira at the call in Auckland had someone won Ultimate Pit Fight with Ira, and no one did. So never give up on the lesser characters, because I'm not saying that LSS is doing this for all of them, but the studio does take a look at what's happening, and they do love Easter eggs. They do love having these sort of little hidden things. So just never give up. Stay loyal to your characters, because one day it might actually you might get something very cool from the creators. Cal says, "I need someone to do Room Blade justice."
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I know there's a lot. There's been a lot of this being played in Blitz, and I think it's very close to being a very competitive list. I think there's just a few tweaks that need to be done, and I think it's going to be one of the decks that people have to know how to play against, and be prepared to see during tournaments.
Definitely. Now, that event concluded. Obviously, it was pretty cool. But of course, there was the national champs on the other side. So the top 8 ended up being, of course, Kale on Guardian, Rohan Kana on Mechanologist from Session Blood, Jason Thompson Sheck on Warrior, Liam Sproken on Brute, Jacob Pearson on Guardian, Kieran Taggart on Brute, not playing Ninja. Probably the shock there is Kieran gave up Ninja for Brute, but I suppose after all the talking up, they did a Brute on Session Blood. That makes sense. And then we had John Durang from Wellington on Warrior. I mean, he's a master of Warrior. And then, of course, Matt was on Dash once again. So I suppose very simply, when all the dust cleared, it was John Durang and Matt in the finals.
Yeah, these two are getting quite the rivalry. It is. It started in Roads to 10K back in Palmerston North.
We were there
at the beginning of the year, and these two have gone head to head a number of times since. And while Matt's probably Matt's a little bit ahead on win losses, John is really a tough opponent, and anyone who's played against John knows that he is a very good player. And I think this is the sort of rivalry that, and especially it's got the Auckland-Wellington connection to it as well. I think this is the sort of rivalry I think we'll see these two going at it for many years to come with Fab, and I look forward to this being, I don't know, like the Rock Austin of Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, well, that means John's definitely he's the Austin, I assume. He's definitely the Austin. But yeah, so Matt took the finals, and he is now our first national champion. The other fact is, of course, he was
again. I know it's been said a lot, but let's not forget he was undefeated, 13-0 at nationals. That is. I don't think we'll see that. See a run like that. For a long time. I mean, maybe again, but yeah, that is a lot of games, a lot of hard decision making, a lot of hard fought wins, and just a lot of mental dexterity to get through 2 days being undefeated.
Yeah, well, here's an even crazier fact, because I think you were working this out, or somebody was working at a Blitzathon, that Matt was actually something like, because the last loss he took in like Road to Nationals that whole season was to Jacob, and then Matt went undefeated, I believe, through the rest of the Road to National season. So I think, didn't somebody work it out that he was something like 50-0?
Nick brought it up in his. I think they said for the whole season, including the Vagabonds. I think it was like 50, 52 or 53-2 or something for the whole season. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah. So yeah, I suppose it's Matt has put his thanks, Kale. Matt has definitely put his.
I was about to say, if that's the case, you're totally Jerry Lawler.
About Jerry Lawler, I get to play with the puppies. Jim Ross never played with puppies. I get to play with the puppies. I'll gladly. I love the king. But yeah, Matt's put a stamp on the history of nationals, which is and on a little side note, and we'll probably be discussing next week, is the second nationals, Taiwanese nationals, is this weekend. So that's going to be super interesting.
I am looking forward to that. I am looking forward to seeing how diverse their top 8's going to be. I'm looking forward to seeing, if someone has a run like Matt does, maybe there's another undefeated player out there,
Yeah, and they will have a PTI qualifier as well. So there are going to be more Blitz deck lists available as well. So looking forward to both of those. But that wraps. I mean, I don't know. Nationals was great. I mean, we had some really good times. It's all kind of a little bit fuzzy in my head now because we slept the sleep of a just on Sunday night. Oh, well, sorry, I should say we
you
all.
did.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well,
Again, me and Chris Bewley, we jumped in the van, and because I had to be back at work on Monday morning, so we jumped in the van. I think we left about I don't know 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and yeah, like it was a long drive. And what I was thankful for is that in Wairuru we stopped to stretch our legs and stuff, and it was about I don't know, probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock by the time we got there, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna turn the coffee machine on. The coffee machine in the van takes about 40 minutes to warm up, so we turned the coffee machine on, then we drove the desert road. We got about 20 minutes out of Taupo, just pulled over to the side of the road, pitch black. There was a little sort of bus stop thing, pitch black. Opened up the back of the van, made some coffees for the second half of the drive. Had a bit of a reminisce about the weekend, and then jumped back in the van and did the final leg with a nicely made coffee, which Chris was actually, because Chris was starting a new job the following week because he's just back from overseas, and part of his new job he's going to be doing some baristing, so he wanted to have a go. So actually, someone else made me a coffee for the first time of the weekend, which was nice, and and we made it home. And it was good. We didn't have to stop at like at a BP for like a V and a pie or something. So that was
what
great.
they say, you're getting high on your own supply, Ian. High on your own supply. Well, our one was a little bit different. Although, Ian, you might have ended up staying longer. Bewley just missed out, I believe, on top 8. He was
bubbled.
ninth. He bubbled. So
yeah.
Lucky for you, unlucky for Chris.
I was about to say that was mentioned a couple of times on the trip.
But we started cleaning up the venue. Big thanks to everyone who gave a hand in cleaning up, and of course Peter and the Calico Keep crew, Chris Pierce, Chris Gehring, everyone that cleaned up. So we started cleaning up. I think James and Jason actually kind of held court in one of the rooms and were just playing games with a crowd watching them for a while. But we got everything cleaned up, and then we locked up the building, and basically me, Jason, and Chris just headed back to our hotel room, and the plan was shower quickly, get dressed in our, dress up to our nines, and we got out to a little bit later than a few other people. We got out to the great after party with host Braden at Choice Brothers in Guernsey Street. If you were in Wellington, obviously highly recommend. Braden was a fantastic host. We got to try his crazy brew, which I know Ian is very disappointed that he didn't get any crazy brew, but I'm not a beer person, to be honest with you. Like, I usually just liked flavorless beers, This beer was amazing. And Braden provided the keg for free. Obviously, we all brought a few more drinks, but he had the keg for free. They put on fries and stuff like that for all of us, so we had some food. It was a great night. I managed to have a lot of great conversations. My highlight of the night was that I asked Braden if he could put on some Smiths. If you don't know who the Smiths are, they're a great kind of 80s Britpop band. Their lead singer, Morrissey, went on to great fame and also to become a massive twat. But I still love the Smiths.
And I feel like he was there from the beginning.
Well,
you guys put up with it because of their music.
Yeah, true. But what I did is I asked Braden if they could put one Smith song on. I said, could I have one request, one Smith song? And then the Spotify broke down, and they got it working. And then what happened is it just started playing Smith songs for the rest of the night, and nobody noticed except for me. And I was in my happy place. It was a cool night. I had a really good conversation with Gary Lynch and Sam Payne. Sam Payne came to me and Gary. We were talking music or some other shit. And Sam's like, "You guys like wrestling?" And of course, me and Gary were like, "Yes, we do." And Sam's like, "Okay, can I ask you a question about wrestling?" And we're like, "Yes, please, God, ask us questions." But it was a really good night. I'm not going to go into anyone's secret shame.
I was about to say, I don't know. Do we like wrestling?
Yeah, we love wrestling. I'd say a few drunks were drunken. A few people got pretty drunk. I managed to get home at a reasonable hour. I can't really drink, so I mean, so I didn't have that much. I managed to catch a scooter back to my hotel. I know my compatriots Chris and Jason. They came back considerably later, but they weren't so bad for the wear. Got up on Monday morning, had breakfast, had some final things to do at the Bridge Club. Got down to Cerberus, caught up with Cerberus guys before I left, and flew in the afternoon back. So, that was Nationals.
Next, just in reference to us being called Jim Ross and Lawler. Nick said it feels more like Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura.
Oh, but what if I'm the Gorilla Monsoon and you're the
brain?
The brain.
Bobby
You're
the
the
brain.
Bobby Heenan. And I'm the Gorilla Monsoon. Could be. But so that's, I don't know. I could go on lots of little stories, but
but it was a
great weekend.
I think all in all, it was a good weekend. I think we had a just winner. I think I think what was nice is that it wasn't a super derogatory meta where it was just two decks fighting each other out. It was actually a good diversity throughout. I think it shows that you can win. There's a lot of decks that are viable to play at top level play, and there's a couple of decks that probably aren't aren't at top level, but
we all get back from Nationals. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's true. I'm not going to argue there, Nick. But then we got back. Ian, you went back to work.
Kale also had a Monday morning drive home from Nationals. I hear he had partaken in a few crazy brews.
Yeah. So we get back. You go back to work. I went back to work now. We had a project at the studio that we tried to kind of sort out. Obviously, it was our first birthday coming up, and James wanted to have an event. And we did have plans for an actual real-life event, but obviously at the time, particularly when we were planning it, it just, being under level 2.5. We just couldn't do it. So we put that on the back burner, and James came up with the idea of us running like a little birthday party at the studio, but also involve a stream, because it's something we haven't done. We've done videos. You might have seen, like last year we did a bunch of videos on decks of like Jason and Chris, but, we hadn't done anything live. So basically when I got back to the office, as well as catching up on all the other things I had to catch up on, between me and Sasha. Sasha was kind of the main director of it, and I was kind of the man on the ground. We got together the Blitzathon. So I'm pretty pleased because, one, streaming real-life card games is difficult. I mean, if you've got all your rig and sorted out, obviously it's easier, but it was a big job. And we had to make sure we could actually do it at the studio, because if we advertise this event happening and then it didn't happen, that's the worst possible outcome. But we got it together. We had a select number of players invited to actually play on the Blitzathon. So we wanted some from Auckland, some from Wellington, the Wellington crew, and we didn't give them much notice either. Managed to get up here, so we had like Nick Holding, Cashan, Jason Thompson, Adam Little, because Adam also topped the Battle Hardened on the Friday night. We had like Jacob, Matt, Ash from Aucklanders. Jason Long. Sorry, not getting anyone's name. Well, hopefully everybody who's watching this podcast also actually watched it. But we had a birthday party at the studio.
It's up on YouTube. You can, if you got a spare 8 hours and you want to hear me talk a lot.
It's 8.5, more like 8.5 hours. But I mean, we had a birthday party. We ran the stream. I'm kind of glad that I didn't have to do as much commentary as you, and I was more kind of running the stream and just had to come in. Because it is, it was. I don't know. It was a hell of a day. It really gave people a chance to look at the Blitz format. Plus, those Blitz, the studio Blitz lists are now up on the website. I'm processing through the community ones. I'm just waiting for a couple more to come through. Jacob, Matt, Nick Holding. Come on, guys. But yeah, all those blitz lists will be, the staff development team blitz lists are up. So like James's Cav Dean lists, Chris's Ira list, Jason's Azalea list, which I know a lot of people are interested. Yeah. Those are up on the site. I'll get the community ones done. I'm still waiting for a couple, but they should be up tomorrow as well. But it was just it was a great, exhausting day. James actually gave the dev team and myself half a day off the next day. So he came in, cleaned up, caught up for a bit, and then went home, which was so thankful for. But I think it's really opened people's eyes to the Blitz format and watching, not just a development team, but a bunch of high-level players play the format.
Yeah, and it was very interesting, and it goes to show that there's a lot of ways to play Blitz. There's a lot of ways to play each character. I think Blitz is a really fun format. It's very creative. Like a lot of people are like, it's, you're stuck with your 40 cards, but that's kind of where the creativity before you get it into playing comes in. Is you've got to make your 40 cards, and you got to be prepared for a little bit of everything, because you may see Captain, you may see, you're definitely going to see Kano. Let's not think Wizards going to be underplayed in this format like it has been in other formats. Kano is a beast, so you're going to have either your Arena's Prayers or your Null Runes, or you don't, those Azalea players, you're like, it's tough to go hard red line when you're going to have to go up against Wizards, unless you're confident that you can just swing for that big kill arrow before they burn you out. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we'll just kind of chuck in here with the discussion on the Blitzathon is that very much of the season we are going to have a strong focus on Blitz, because a lot of people are talking about Constructed. I know like Session Blood, they do a great job talking about classic Constructed, but I feel like just because Ian's, our challenge is looking at Blitz, we're going to start doing some deep dives on some of the decks. So like next week, we're going to discuss more about what we played this week at Armory events, and I think we'll both do like a bit of a deep dive into our decks and why we're playing them. So just keep everybody up with how the Blitz meta is developing. I mean, we'll get to it in a second, but there are a couple of events that you should mark on your calendar before the end of the year, which are going to be amazing Blitz events. But anything you want to add about the Blitzathon before we get on to events, Ian?
I just want to say congratulations to you guys for getting it up and running. I know just how much last minute rushing around to get things so they run as smoothly. A shout out to Armel's partner for providing an amazing cake. Cakes by Amy, is that?
Yeah, cakes. So we should mention that I think some pics went up, but we wanted a cool cake. So I was put on to Amy, who's Armel from Vagabond's partner, and I gave her a bit of a brief on what I wanted for the cake, and she was like, "Sweet." She got onto it, and I went to pick up the cake on Saturday, and it was way beyond what I'd laid down in the brief. It was amazing. If you haven't seen the pics, I know a pic went up on the fan page. Basically, if you can imagine, the base of the cake was sitting on a base that was the classic playmat, printed out, and on the playmat, on one of the zones, it said, "Happy first birthday, Fab." On there, and then there was a edible card. There's larger than a normal card sitting on the playmat. That was made of chocolate or icing, something you could eat it. And then the actual cake itself was a booster box of Crucible. And literally, cool. I do not lie. I sent on Saturday after I picked up the cake, I sent a message to James, and I said, just send him a picture. And James is like, question mark, what's this? And I'm like, it's the cake, James. And I also sent the message to Sasha, and Sasha was like, that's the cake. It was it was so cool. So yeah, look up Cakes by Amy. There in Forest Hill. She does she does great cakes. Because I mean, not only did it look perfect, it ate very well.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Oh, well, no.
Apparently, there was this piece put aside for me because I was on commentary and someone swiped it, so I never actually got to try it. But to be fair with my journey this year, I probably didn't need it. But
no.
from all accounts, it was very delicious.
To be fair, I also missed out, Ian. But sometimes to be honest, the cake wasn't going to feed all 40 people. It wasn't going to feed all 40 people.
What you hear, from what I was told, it was an amazing event. I wish it was there. Yeah, again, Nick, we would have loved to have seen some of you guys from across the ditch come over, and hopefully, fingers crossed, 2021 second birthday, we can get you over. We'll break out some LNP for you. We'll break out some Cheerios and
maybe we just have the birthday party in Australia.
Maybe
we just have it in Australia, but let's not say anything else. But Blitz Fun went really well. Probably the end note of that is that we are definitely looking at doing some more streaming events. So that's high on the agenda.
That's not the end note. Let's put it out there. As you said, no one played IRA at the PTI, but the Blitzathon grand champion with the most wins, a win streak of 5, was indeed Ira, being played by Chris Gehring, who didn't do that well in the battle hardening. I believe he only went 3-2 at battle hardening, so he was out to show that he should still keep his job as league developer.
He showed his chops.
Did a great job.
But also, I suppose the same thing as the second other streak was, of course, Nick Holding on Wizard, who was 4 wins on his streak.
Yeah, technically it was four apiece, and so it was a tie at the end of the thing. So the last match of after the hooter, basically, it was golden points for Nick. Nick, yes, Whitaker's anything Whitaker's does is great. Just all good. So it was great. But as you said, you guys are looking to hopefully do some more streaming stuff in the future, whether it be events or just with the developers and stuff, which would be great. But because I honestly think Blitz is such a great way, especially with because one of the exciting things that was actually brought up on the Blitzathon, if you actually listen through all my ramblings, I had some great hosts, co-hosts with me. One of them who started the day with me was in fact James White, the creator of the game, letting people know that Europe and Canada have officially got distributors, and they will be joining the Fab family come November. So that's super exciting, and I think Blitz is a great format with unlimited Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising coming out, a whole bunch of new players, and these new areas are going to be cracking packs and wanting to get into the game. And I think while Classic Constructed again is an amazing game as well, I think Blitz is a really nice way to get new players in, because you get more games in. You can play 4 or 5 rounds at a night at a hobby league, and you can just get those reps in, which is what it's all about when you're picking up the game new. And also for more seasoned players, it's a lot of fun because you can, there is a lot of strategy in Blitz and deck building and stuff like that. So get out there and play some Blitz and play some Ultimate Pit Fight as well. A very underrated format.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I am looking forward to the Europeans coming on board, especially the Polish. I tell you, we have in the States. I always believe that Texas is like one of our great strongholds for Fab, and I very much think Poland is the Texas of the EU. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Polish events start getting, because there is a strong fan base there.
Just to clarify that is in the way that they're an early adopter, not in the crazy oil baron type.
Yes, very much, very much. All right, well, let's get on to the last couple of sections of the cast. Now, the big thing is there's a couple of events, as we mentioned. There's a couple of Blitz events coming up. So the very first one I'll be happy to announce is Radio Reflex is back with running some events coming up on Saturday, 31st of October. Radio Reflex, in conjunction with Hobbymaster Event Centre in Penrose, is running Halloween Havoc.
Yes.
So we'll be posting. I'll be posting the details up on our Facebook page and sharing it to the group, the fan page. It will be up on the Hobbymaster page tomorrow, I believe. But yeah, we are running Blitz on Halloween. It's 12 p.m. start. We are offering some very sweet prizes. First place will take home the very exclusive Judge playmat for this season, which is of the Demonastery.
Yes.
I am also offering up a door prize of the Find Center playmat from Crucible of War, so that will be a free door prize. Hobbymaster will put up boosters or tickets. And also, since it's Halloween, I'm going to bring some candy in.
Yes, trick-or-treating. What I was famous for when I used to help James White out running pre-release events for Versus System many years ago, a game that was unfortunately ruined by the company that put it out. But one of my favorite things I used to do is at pre-release events, I would always have a bag of lollies, and I would, if you had a crazy play, you pulled off an awesome trick. If you made a great pop culture reference while playing cards, anything like that. I'd have a bag of lollies, and I would reward people as anyone who has ever played me. I don't take things overly seriously. I will be often quoting movies or wrestling or breaking into song, and so I in that vein I say bring it on, trick or treat. We're gonna have some fun. This is what this event's about. While there's a cool playmat and stuff on the line, I want to see cool decks. I want to see people having fun. I want to see crazy plays. Let's just get out there and enjoy ourselves and have some fun.
Yeah, Halloween. So I'm really looking forward to it. Me and Ian will play, so it'll count for the season.
Right.
But yeah, I've been looking forward to this. We wanted to do it earlier, but restrictions kicked in. And I'll scavenge around, see what other prizes I can come up with from the collection. But we really hope to see you for the very first Halloween Havoc. So again, that's on the Saturday of Halloween, 12 p.m. start. We should be like 4 or 5 rounds, and then cut to, depending on how many players, either a top 8 or a top 4. Judge Full Demonstratory playmat. Check out, details will be up very soon. Now the next one, of course, is not run by us, but is run by our friends at Mighty Ape. Now, Mighty Ape unfortunately had to cancel their Road to Nationals because of the lockdown. They would have had theirs shortly after the double weekend in Wellington. I think they were like a week, about 2 weeks after that. So unfortunately, they had to cancel their event. So effectively, this is kind of the makeup event. So Mighty Ape have announced their Blitz Championship event. It is on the 21st of November. Blitz format. Just check Mighty Ape to find the details. I'm sure it's probably already been posted on the Flesh and Blood fan page. It's a Blitz event. Basically, the other thing about it, it's got all the sweet prizes that were open for Road to Nationals. The only exception, of course, is there isn't the Nationals appearance fee, but there will be a gold cold foil drop. There's Fender tunic playmats, as well as like cold foil heroes and potions up for grabs. I believe also Mighty Ape is offering some sweet things.
Yeah, just remember the cold foil hero is top in class is only for the 8 classes of Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising. So don't think you're going to show up with a Shiana and win a Shiana or a Cav Bane or a KO or an Ira. It is just those original 8 Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising heroes. Now, also the other big thing about that is it's on my birthday. So yeah,
sounds like a song.
I'll be expecting presents from everyone I play.
Yeah. Geez, Ian, what are you trying to suggest? Could go against the rules. But yeah, no, that's going to be a cool event. I will be there. I won't be playing just because I'm a staff member. I don't think it's I should be playing, but I'll be there just to probably just help to judge the event, give David and his team hand. But yeah, it's going to be a blitz, and yeah, it's probably, besides the PTI qualifier, it's going to be one of the best prized events available. So yeah, put it in your calendar, check with Mighty Ape. Yeah, it's going to be really good. And again, blitz is at the forefront, so we also maybe Ian, while you're playing, I can run a bit of coverage myself. I think Mighty Ape is talking about doing some streaming, but not 100% on that.
Yeah, well, and if they do, maybe you can get on the call.
Yeah, hopefully. All right. So we've already gone over an hour. So thanks.
Yeah.
We are going to have a quick. Let's do. We've got to start out the season with Kirk's Corner.
Never take from a stranger unless it's out.
Yeah, well, it's all right. I don't have a van. I don't have a van to put you in, so it's okay.
Well,
it's okay. Hatchback. This is cool.
I was about to say one of us does have a van.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think. You can fit many children in that van, Ian. No. You can fit many, and children never go for coffee. You know, you'd be catching a hold of middle-aged office workers, basically. But yeah, let's do Kurt's Corner. I came up with a topic, so we won't be too long on it. But Kurt's Corner is part of our thing for Kirk. Hopefully he's watching. So so with Kurt's Corner today, it's basically what we're going to discuss is what is our favorite names for old pay-per-views, for wrestling pay-per-views.
So for those who didn't realize, the reason our Blitz event is called Halloween Havoc is, yes, it is on Halloween, but of course Halloween Havoc was one of the classic WCW pay-per-views back in the day. Had an amazing set, and yeah, it was a good time. And
I had some great matches. I mean, one of the classic matches of all time.
Well, yeah, I believe when we were talking about classic matches, the one I actually picked came from Halloween Havoc. It was, of course, Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio for the Cruiserweight title.
Yeah, definitely one of the great matches of all time. But yeah, interesting little fact. I listened to, I haven't listened to it recently, but Eric Bischoff's podcast called 83 Weeks, and he always used to say that obviously WWE had like WrestleMania and Royal Rumble. I mean, there's 4 of them, but those are like the 2 key ones. The 2 key ones, and he said that he always felt Halloween Havoc and Bash at the Beach were like those are the key ones for WCW, which I always thought was quite interesting.
And of course Starrcade as well.
Yeah, well, he always felt Starrcade just wasn't that that key, because it was key to like the old WCW, but yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, Starrcade was the WrestleMania equivalent, I suppose. I'm not sure if it quite got there, to be honest. But so yeah, what is, have you put some thought into it? What is your favorite pay-per-view name?
It's definitely not Great Balls of Fire, which is in fact an actual pay-per-view title that the WWE used a couple of years ago. I have to admit, I was always a fan. I was always a fan of King of the Ring. I just think I like it as an event. I also think it's you knew what you were getting. It was a tournament. It was a tournament pay-per-view. It had, and so it all tied in very nicely. So I think that probably naming wise was one that I was always a big fan of. Also, and of course, the classic Survivor Series was always a big favorite of mine.
Yeah. I think with my one, I was probably say I've got very very fond. I'm kind of fond of all the ECW pay-per-view names just as a group because ECW just had some
December to
silly.
December to dismember.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the key ones. I'm just trying. I'm actually just looking at the list. No, yeah. Holiday Hell, When Worlds Collide,
Heat wave.
Big ass extreme bash,
Big asses.
hardcore heaven. The
Yeah,
Doctor is in.
yeah,
WrestlePalooza, Gangsters
yeah.
Paradise. Yeah, November to Remember, followed by December to Dismember. Hardcore heaven.
One night stand.
Yeah, well, One Night Stand's probably. Oh, there was actually one called Return of the Funker, which I assume Terry Funker must have returned.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the only way it makes sense. But yeah, probably One Night Stand is cool. I mean, there was two One Night Stands, but they were both pretty sweet. But probably my favorite, just because I think
as there often is in real life as well.
Yeah, probably my favorites though, just because of the silliness of it, and also one of them had the famous Hulk Hogan turn where he revealed himself as a leader of the New World Order. Was of course Bash at the Beach, and like the old WCWs, they had that theming on point. Like Halloween Havoc had the giant pumpkin, and Bash at the Beach had like sandy beach and
Road
palms
Wild
and
was
stuff like that.
and Road Wild was the Sturgis biker rally.
Road Wild.
Yeah.
So
Cal
yeah,
here
otherwise
saying,
if it's
Cal here saying that he was a fan of SummerSlam was awesome, rolls off the tongue nicely. It does. SummerSlam and WrestleMania are classics for a reason. They did work. Actually, I am going to go on record as saying probably my favorite recurring name for an event and the event itself is actually for our local promotion that I used to be involved with, IPW, and of course that is Nightmare Before Christmas, which is their December event, and always, and the main event of that is always fans bring weapons match, which is always a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, well, final shout out that what was my final shout out? I was going to say always a big fan of King of the Ring, which I kind of agree with you. King of the Ring just rolls off the tongue, but also I kind of like takeovers. Specifically takeover war games. War games is
War games is a lot of fun.
And also, nothing can't be solved. There's nothing that can't be solved by William Regal coming out and saying "War games." If somebody comes up to you and has a problem, just solve it with what? Nothing solves problems like two steel cages.
I don't know. Holla, 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 player. We've got a tag team match, and tonight you'll be facing The Undertaker.
That's crazy. Oh, Kale, yeah, Money in the Bank. But no, this is more just probably we're getting a little bit off track because we're nerds about wrestling. This is supposed to be more about the names, but obviously, some of them like Bash at the Beach, Hogan turn, Money in the Bank is usually always good for a wacky ladder match, especially with the last. Wait, is Money in the Bank even a pay-per-view now, or do?
Yeah,
I'm not even sure.
Otis won it. They threw Ray off the top of a building, and Otis won Money in the Bank.
Yeah, that's sad. I miss Rey Mysterio. That he's dead. Just like the time that Hulk Hogan threw the Giant off a tall-story building.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is us for tonight. It has been a good catch up. We're glad to be back here in season 3, so we will be back to weekly casting, and thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for supporting us, all the people who sort of reached out to us and were like, when you guys back on, we're really glad that you guys enjoy what we do, and we will catch you next time, and as always, wash your damn hands.